Hi! I just want to film a quick intro because I'm going to be sitting down and showing you guys the biggest changes. We haven't really made a lot of changes for fourth grade. It's really been going really well. I mean, we have, but as far as like the general plan and then language arts has been going really well. So I just have like one thing to show you guys for language arts, which is just like her handwriting progress. And then art has been going really well. We changed from doing art one day a week to doing art every day. And I'll show you guys that in the video, the second part of the video. And the biggest change we made was math. We switched from Beast Academy to Saxon. And I'll talk about that a lot in the video, and I'll show you guys, how we're using it and things like that. Beast Academy just wasn't working for us. It was like a lot of logic, and I felt that Saxon was, in my mind, a little bit more traditional, a little bit more monotonous or repetitive, but that's what I wanted, like a spiral curriculum. And that's been working out really great since we switched. She's not as frustrated. I understand how to check her work. I'm not as frustrated. It is going really smoothly. It's still taking math is taking longer just in general, I guess, just as she gets older. But for Beast Academy, it was really taking a long time for really no good reason. Like a lot of the stuff she just was confused about or didn't understand. And Saxon is taking just as long because it is just more work. But that's okay. I really want her to catch up and be on her grade level with math. Okay, and so science, we're still using Blossom and Root, Wonders of the Animal Kingdom. It's going really well. I'll talk about that in the video about how we're using it because she has like a lot of options. The curriculum has like quite a few options of things you can do. And so I show that of how we're implementing it, and I show the main book that we use. If you really want to see a flip through of all the books we're using and have used from the beginning for fourth grade, please check out my fourth grade curriculum video and all my individual videos how I teach each subject, because I do show like flip throughs of all the books. And then we also did make a pretty big change for history. We were doing American history at the beginning of fourth grade. I did switch from Blossom and Root, A River of Voices, to Curiosity Chronicles, Early Modern History. And that's going okay. I think I talk about that a little bit. I've just kind of discovered that my daughter's not a real big auditory learner, and I did purchase an audiobook. I didn't purchase a textbook, but we're reading it from my computer. And it's just, I don't know, it's just like, it's just not going that great. Maybe, I don't know why. I feel like it covers a lot of information, and history is just very complex. And I don't think I'm going to go with Curiosity Chronicles for fifth grade, but I still think it's a really good curriculum. Same thing with Blossom and Root History or Voices. I think it's a really good curriculum. It just wasn't working for us. And same thing with Beast Academy. It just wasn't working for us. What else? Okay, so art's really going really well. Geography is going really well. We're studying the 50 states. We're going to be soon moving to study national parks. Like I said, we did change history. I talk about that when I sit down. Science, science is the same. I talk about that when I sit down. And let's see, art, like I said, it's going really well. Language arts going really, really well. I think I did mention that. And so language arts, I think I'm just going to show you guys like a couple of things from her handwriting, but otherwise just like I have really made like no changes for language arts, which is great. It's flowing. And let's see what else. My daughter's taking an outside class. She's taking Minecraft on Outschool, and that's working out really well. She gets to like socialize with other kids, and she really likes Minecraft. So that's one thing I'm happy about Curiosity Chronicles, that they introduced us to the world of Minecraft. She really enjoys Minecraft, creating things. And let's see, I think that's almost it that I wanted to mention in the beginning, because mainly what I sit down and discuss is like the biggest changes that we've made. Yeah, and then soon I will be making a fifth grade planning video, and I'm gonna sit down, probably long and rambly, show you guys kind of like my ideas on paper. It's kind of how I kind of work through things before I start purchasing things, I'm already starting to think about fifth grade, what I want to do differently than I've done for fourth grade. Oh, I want to also comment, I did make a separate video on reading, also on her reading update. And I think I made two videos, one of introducing more classics, and then one of what she's read so far in fourth grade. So check that out if you're interested in what she's been reading this year. Reading has gone really great. I'm always kind of debating, like with classics, because she's not drawn to want to read a lot of classics or even realistic fiction. So I'm always kind of like struggling with like, should I make her read this? Should I not? Like, should I just like be encouraging of what she wants to read, which is mostly middle grade fantasy. And it's just like she is reading, but then we had an experience with The Hobbit where like she really didn't want to read it. My husband, we got her the books that he read it when he was younger. I never read it. Lord of the Rings, I guess you could say it's still fantasy. sorry, it's like, okay. It's still fantasy, but it's like older. I think it's like maybe for an older audience, or I don't know if it's a kids or YA. I don't know. But it's like more dense, and she kind of struggled with it the first few chapters, but then she really loved it. She really loved The Hobbit, and now she plans on reading The Lord of the Rings, and that was a book I kind of had to really encourage her to start. So that was encouraging to me, you know, knowing that even though there are books, because I'm the same way, like sometimes I'm a reluctant reader, like I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll like this book, and then I do, or sometimes I'm right, but you know, I want her to take more chances in her reading, and that's one thing I'm kind of always struggling with homeschool, because we're big readers in this house. Like I read a lot, her dad reads a lot, she reads a lot, and so like I'm always like, should I just let her read what she wants to read, or should I, like, you know? So yeah, that was one thing I did do for fourth, was I really added in, wanted her to read more classics, and that's been working pretty well. So yeah, so everything else, like I said, I sit down and kind of discuss our biggest changes and show you guys how we're doing with those changes. So thanks so much for watching up to this point. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. So thanks for joining me again. So the biggest change that we made for fourth grade was math. And I'm going to show you guys my comparison and opinion of Beast Academy versus Saxon, which is what we're using now. So when I first discovered Beast Academy, you know, I guess like 2 years ago, I read on their website that they suggested starting a level beneath what your child was at because it was more advanced. So for third grade, we did 2, like 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. And then for fourth grade, so I started, you know, with the 3s, so 3A all the way through 3D. And so basically, let me show you guys first. I went ahead and purchased all 8, which is the manual and the student guide, practice guide for fourth grade. And I want to show you guys what I was having to also use as supplemental material. So we were using all of this stuff, you know, for fourth grade. Basically, I was supplementing starting in third grade with this double digit, and we didn't finish it all for third grade, so I went ahead and just had her start it. We still didn't even get to the end of it. I had her continue this for fourth grade. So I was supplementing with this for subtraction and addition because I didn't feel like there was enough in the Beast Academy workbooks. I noticed, of course, I was also having to supplement with multiplication. So we were doing this, which I'm going to link everything I can find on Amazon. And so basically this again, we went ahead and she was like doing either a row or like a page a day for Beast Academy. And then I also had her do this like little multiplication table. I was having her practice her multiplication skills with this, which is, I don't know if you guys remember these things. A lot of these were like popular when we were kids. So like every day I'd have her do this for a certain amount of time, or I'd have her do like all the ones and say them out loud and stuff like that. So we were having to supplement with the workbooks. Okay. So basically all we got to was these 4. She finished these 2, and then I'm going to show you guys at what point we changed. We pretty much changed from Beast Academy. Let me just show it just in case some of you aren't familiar with it, which I'm sure not everyone uses it, or maybe you might be interested in using it. But basically, Beast Academy comes with a guidebook, and this is 3A, which, like I said, we use this for 4th grade, even though I guess it's technically 3rd grade. And it's like comic book style. Here is the chapters that covers, you know, multiplication is second. So when we got to multiplication, which was literally like the second, like the chapter 4, she really was like unprepared for it. I really don't feel like it covered a lot of multiplication or division in like the 2s in like for 3rd grade. So I kind of feel, yeah, like I don't know, like we were having to do a lot of reviewing. And then so basically, yeah, so the reason I got this is because my daughter's never really found a connection to math. So you read a section, like you read a little section in this, and then you go on to do practice pages. So I thought, wow, like, you know, she likes comics, she likes graphic novels, she likes like illustrated stuff. I thought, oh, like, let me try to make math more fun. And because before we used Singapore math, I think primary, then we used Math Mammoth, It was like first grade, second grade. Yeah, and then for third grade, we switched from Math Mammoth in second grade to Beast Academy for third grade, and then I tried to use Beast Academy for fourth grade. So like I said, Math Mammoth was just like, you know, no frills, like no, like it wasn't colorful, it was just like black and white. She was kind of just like bored with math, and I don't know what I was expecting, but like that's how I was when I was a kid, so I didn't want her to get left behind like I kind of feel like I did. And so here's a practice book. So you read the comic book section, and then you go on to do, and so we did this whole book, which was A, for the beginning of fourth grade. And I don't know, it's like some of the things I didn't even have her do. It's like, okay, like I'm not a math person, so excuse my language if it's not like technical, because I'm not good at explaining things. I just know what doesn't work for us. And for us, Beast Academy, in my opinion, was a lot of like logic, which is a good thing, yet I feel like my daughter was behind with basic skills. And even though I was supplementing with like the 2 workbooks I showed you guys, and we did some stuff in the summer, I just felt like she wasn't comprehending like basic math, which was like, you know, a lot of like just basic things like multiplication, division. In case she does go to public school one day, or, you know, private school, public school, whatever, like if she decides to make that decision, I don't want her to be behind. And I really feel like she was behind in math, because we did do a standardized test, which I had her take the CAT test, California Achievement Test, online, and she still scored the 99th percentile for everything, but her language arts scores were like so high compared to the math. It didn't work for us. Like I said, I just feel like she was just falling behind. And then, like, I hope I'm not saying this incorrectly, but I want to say that I believe Beast Academy is a mastery curriculum versus Spiral. I believe Spiral goes back and reinforces, and that's what I wanted. So I went back and looked at every math we've ever done, like I said, primary, Singapore, and then Math Mammoth. I'm like all over the place. Singapore Math Primary, I believe it was, Math Mammoth, Beast Academy. I believe that those are all masteries, where I don't feel like it was reinforcing concepts enough. So I wanted to find a Spiral Math, and I Googled it, and I found Saxon. Now, Saxon, I believe, is used in public schools. I'm not sure it's a different variation, probably not, but I was okay with that. So, like I said, it just was not right for us. And I'm not a math curriculum expert for sure. I can just say it didn't work for us. And like, yeah. So I went ahead and got Saxon. Now I want to say this about Saxon. We haven't had to buy any additional worksheets for workbooks for Saxon. So we got Saxon 5.4, which I kind of found confusing. Okay, so the biggest book is, okay, let me start. Yeah. So Saxon is like it's like a whole nother world. Like, it's like, Saxon is like, they have to me, Saxon is very, very, very well planned. It could be, I could see it being very monotonous and very boring for a certain type of child. We started kind of late in the year because, you know, we switched maths, but we just went ahead and started at the beginning. Okay, so basically, let me show you real quick. So basically, it has a lesson 1, and then it has like a warm-up. Sometimes I have her do this kind of in her head, just read it, and sometimes I have her answer. And then we do every single thing. It takes us pretty much just as long as it was taking for Beast Academy, except she's having more work. Oh, I'm skipping something. Let me start here. Sorry. This is text, test, and worksheets. So before you do the lesson, it's very easy to understand. It's like these are all the practices, and this is why we don't have to supplement, because they pretty much include their own supplementation. So each of these practice sheets matches with each lesson, or it matches with a test. So this is what she had to do, the addition. So all of these are practice that you do before the lesson. And so that's pretty much what it is. And so what we've got to is a lot of addition, subtraction, addition. It has like number charts. So yeah, and then it goes on to multiplication, number charts, and you can tear these out too if you want to, but we keep them in here. And then like it even has like a centimeter grid, and she's doing really well. Like honestly, she's doing really, really well. Like she rarely, like it's not, like I said, it's not, to me, it's about like, it's not about mastering everything. Like like I said, I really like the spiral method. I really do. And it's really working well for us, you guys. So, and I like how it has everything just in here. You don't have to, you don't have to supplement. At the end, it has test, and it tells you when you have to do the test. Like it'll say like use with test number 2 or use with test number 3. So you would still do the practice page, and then you would go on to do the test. So far she's already done like 1, 2, 3, 4 tests, and next she'll be doing the 5th test. But yeah, so it's like really, like I said, well planned. So that's what you do first, and then you go on to do the lessons. I'm just gonna kind of flip through. Like it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of examples, and then you go on to do, it's like a lesson practice, then a mixed practice. So let me just continue. So this is just, like I said, yeah, so this is Saxon math. It's very, to me, it's very straightforward. It explains things very well, especially from someone who, me as a parent who is not good at explaining math. I don't like in Beast Academy, I really struggled with not every, everything, but some of the lessons I just like, honestly, I could not figure out how to explain it to her. It's working really well. And also, let's see, I think that's it that I want to show you guys. Oh, and then it's like it never it's like it never ends. Like, okay, so it's like in the end, it also has supplemental practice. So we definitely will not be having time to do this during the school year, but I think that it's like they've thought of everything. So you could honestly turn to the back and do this over the summer. I really like it. And then the last thing, which isn't really much to show, but this is the solutions manual. So every day, of course, I have this prepared where we stop, with the solutions manual. And I really like it. I really do. That's Saxon and Beast Academy. Okay, so that's math. I talked about how language arts has been moving really smoothly this year, but the only kind of thing I want to show is that we're going to be ending draw right now. I'm kind of sad about it, really, since kindergarten. Kindergarten or first grade. I love draw right now. It's like a fun way to do handwriting practice, and it's worked really well. If you're watching this and you watch my other videos, you know that, or even if you're not familiar, for this year for science, we did zoology. We're doing zoology with Blossom and Root. It's worked very well with the Blossom and Root curriculum because it's animals. So basically, she just wrote a sentence every day. You draw the picture, and I'm kind of sad. This will be like the last. We're already on this book. We finished this one. We just started book 8 for the second half of 4th grade. And I'm going to show you guys. This is her little primary that we've been having for years. And we pretty much, like I said, this was, I don't know what grade this was, but this was like book 2. So I didn't have book 1 in here. But yeah, you can see how her handwriting has progressed. Yeah, so now we're all the way. And sometimes she adds her own sentences. And we're all the way now at the giraffe for the last book. So yeah, since I just mentioned Blossom and Root, I'll go ahead and take that out. So for 4th grade, we decided to do Blossom and Root, Wonders of the Animal Kingdom. And I did ask my daughter's opinion on science because I think science is one of those subjects. I guess you could say that for any subject, but my child's always been drawn. I guess I knew that, stuff she wanted to do when she got older would probably be related to like science or language arts. She was thinking about becoming an animal biologist, which I know she's only 9, she's about to be 10, but I know that idea will probably change, multiple times. But, I kind of like to roll with it, right? Since that's what's so fun about homeschooling, is that you get to do self-led learning if you wish. I know some people are bound by, still have to use state guidelines and things like that. In Texas, where I live, it's very pretty much like, I don't know, like almost like wide open, like free range. Like they don't really have any restrictions. So luckily, thankfully, and so for science, she really wanted to be a wildlife biologist. So I searched for zoology or animal type curriculums, and I found, of course, Blossom and Root, Wonders of the Animal Kingdom. So even though we're in 4th grade, it's year 3, but that's okay. I think she even, it's okay, like they say that. I mean, with elementary, it's like that, right? Even like middle, like you can kind of, the grades don't really matter that much, I don't think. Okay, so we did Wonders of the Animal Kingdom. I really encourage you guys, if you're thinking about using Blossom and Root, to go and watch my video. It's like How I Teach Science, I believe is the title, and I think I wrote like books or supplements I'm using with Blossom and Root. So I really suggest you go check that out if you want to use Blossom and Root. If you're just interested a little bit, I'm going to talk about what worked for us and what is working for us with Blossom and Root. Okay, so I want to become a wildlife biologist. I thought it would be perfect for us. It has been working out pretty good. One thing that's interesting is she does not want to be a wildlife biologist anymore, which is kind of a nice dose of reality. And like, not that, like I said, she could still change her mind, of course, but she got to see videos that I just added on myself. I don't remember if it was the ones they suggested or ones I found, but we watched some videos and I found some videos of actual wildlife biologists doing different work, and she found that it's not something she wants to do because they do a lot of medical things, and she wasn't expecting that. I think, she's only 9. She was just thinking she'd get to, I don't know, maybe just observe animals in nature all day or something. She got to realize that through the videos and stuff, she loves studying the animals. Like she loves, and not that she can't use that in another occupation or discipline. But as far as like a wildlife biologist, she saw videos of like, I think a wildlife biologist, she was collecting blood samples from certain animals, and so she's not a fan of medical things. I want at this point pursue animal biology at 9 years old. But so it was kind of nice because now she's more interested again in paleontology, archaeology, architecture, and engineering. So it kind of was like, oh, this was fun. We got to see what she wants to learn about. And so, but your child does not have to be want to be a wildlife biologist to do this curriculum, because it gave us a big opportunity to study all different types of animals. The curriculum offers a lot of different options. Okay, like it has a student notebook, which I have printed out. Okay, this is what we're going to start at the end of the year, and it's like ecosystems, which we didn't get to this yet. But then she gives you a lot of flexibility, which I like, the curriculum. And so it has, I used my computer for all of this, so sorry if it's not the prettiest thing to show. I have everything on my computer, but I printed out mostly the student notebook. I'm going to show you guys in a minute. So basically it had different options for different types of learners. It had outdoor learner activities. I found out we are not outdoor learners. We do like to do outdoor learning in our own free time. Like we do go outside, we find a cool beetle, a bug, we observe it, we watch it. Just naturally we do that. But as far as like doing nature studies, nature type things, or like going outside with a goal, we don't connect with that. So we learned through this curriculum that we did not feel drawn to do the outdoor activities. And like I said, everyone's different. We did not feel drawn to do what she calls the table lab crowd, which she, I think, refers to also as like table science. Also something that I personally just didn't connect to with teaching. We didn't do that section that it offered in the curriculum. And then there's the crafts/projects families. Not us. She and I are not drawn to doing it with science. I don't know. So we just did not do the crafts projects. It's just like we're not drawn to that. So that was from the student notebook section. So what we did do was like the research part of it, which is like the written narration. Mostly skipped most of the other parts. And so this, I'm gonna show you guys that in a minute right now. And so this is a student notebook, like almost like a field journal. I didn't have her color it, And so I think she colored the first one with black. But basically, for the majority of the curriculum, it's like you pick you have a different animal pretty much every week that you can choose from. Well, that one was like extinction, history of animal life. But then you start getting more into the animals. Like this was like mollusk and worms. And so we would read about mollusk and worms. They have a little section in her curriculum where the curriculum explains things about mollusk and worms that you can read out loud, which we did do that in the beginning. And then she would kind of just do like little research, written information about the subject. So yeah, I let her choose. So I pretty much let her choose like jawless and bony fish. I let her choose what fish she wanted to do, and she liked that. She liked having the choice. So I liked how this curriculum gave us that option. And it's pretty, I mean, this is like, the written narration. I've seen other curriculums that have done this, but I want to say that it works. I think it worked really well, and it's working really well for the animal aspect of this curriculum, because that's what it is. It just works really well. And she learned a lot. She is learning a lot about animals. So yeah, that was pretty much, okay. So that was the main thing we did from like the student notebook options. Just the narration, minimalist style, like book basket people or folks, she says, and then visual learners. So for us, I noticed that we very much were drawn to like the minimalist side of this curriculum. We definitely are book basket people, like 100%. And that's kind of how I noticed my daughter likes to learn, with reading and writing. And so then the visual learners, we kind of depend on that. Like we started off strong with the beginning of this curriculum, doing a lot of videos, and then like reading from the my computer, which was the downloaded curriculum I purchased. But then now we've kind of got on a roll, and all we pretty much do now is do our own reading, which we mainly use this book. Honestly, I don't regret buying a lot of the books that I bought, but they weren't necessary in my opinion to me. My daughter did use them, because whenever she would get to each section where she did the oral narration, like even the California sea lion, she would gather, and she liked that process of like, and that's kind of, I've noticed, has been our theme in homeschooling from the beginning. We like to gather information, and then we kind of like to make our way with it. Like whether it's through like orally discussing it, drawing it, writing it down. We don't like to do a lot of extras when it comes to this. When it comes to certain curriculums. So like I said, some people might get way more out of this curriculum than we've used it for, but it just wasn't something we were drawn to. And that's what I like about it. It's like, so what we do now is she's like, okay, I'm doing the sea lion. I'm going to do a sea lion today. We would flip through this book mainly, and then some of our other books, like our mammal book, or if we had like sea animals or whatever, a book. But basically we pretty much use this book, which pretty much goes over every single type and classification, of animals. So you don't really need, you don't really need another book, because this is the spine. We only use this book. Like we get this book out every single time, whereas a lot of the other books, of course, pertain to different sections of the curriculum. To do her narration, I feel like this book was definitely enough, but because my daughter, really loves books, she would go and gather from our bookshelf, a variety. So yeah, I would say it's working for us for 4th grade. So history is another thing that I want to show you guys that's changed. Okay, so in the beginning of, if you watch my 4th grade curriculum video, or maybe even how I teach history, I don't remember, definitely check out that video. I have a how I teach history and my 4th grade curriculum video. I don't remember at what point I changed, but I started off using Blossom and Root, A River of Voices, for 4th grade. I wanted to focus on American history. Now, what I want to say is, while this is Blossom and Root Science, while this narration worked for us for the animals, for zoology, it did not work for us for history. And I think it's because animals are so visual. Certain types of science, I guess biology, maybe depending, are very visual. You know, like the human body, animals, even rocks, like so many things. But yet when you come to history obviously can be visual. It was very challenging for us to narrate visually and even in a paragraph form historical things. I think that history is so complex. At the stage we're in right now, it just wasn't working for us. So I went back to Curiosity Chronicles. Now, even though I wanted to do American history, I was like, you know what? I'm just like, it was just like my brain cells I felt were dead. Like, I was like, I just don't feel like creating my own curriculum at this point. The student guide, I'm sorry if I'm saying that, what is it called? Yeah, student's guide, sorry. This is volume 1. And so so after we changed from American history to this, we pretty much didn't really use a lot of books with it. So I thought I would try to just focus on listening audio to the audiobook and just doing the worksheets. And then it also has like Minecraft activities with it and things like that. I didn't print those out. Those are on my computer, which was like the parent guide or something. Okay, so we did Curiosity Chronicles for 3rd grade. They really do have some interesting parts of this curriculum, with especially the Minecraft prompts, creative prompts where you go on. We didn't do every sheet. We mainly did, and then they had this that you could listen to this. You could do this while you were listening, which I like. They added this on with the newer, but we tried this and she was getting so distracted with the coloring and the drawing that she wasn't listening. And like I said, I think it depends on what your child's interested in, the era of history. There's a lot of things that go into it that I'm just finding it's not working for us. I think it's a really good curriculum. I think it's really well planned out. I think it's really a really smart curriculum, but I just, like I said, we're not. So like I said, so what we're doing now is we quit doing these sheets. I just felt like these sheets, the worksheets, weren't adding anything. I mean, there's some things like about history that are just you have to know. You know, I think it's nice to know, but then there's other things that I just felt like weren't necessary for us personally. And I kind of feel like I finally got it. I kind of feel, so these are cute. These are cool. I mean, there is some really nice stuff, but like I said, and then you like educate. I'm still not doing it right, I think. But so yeah, use like 1, 2. Sorry. So then you pick a number. This thing is like not cooperating. I think it's stuck. But so, you know, you pick one. Maroons. What does maroon mean? But yeah, this one I think it's folded kind of wonky. But usually we would get it to work. So I think it's very well thought out, but it's just not working for us. It's just not. I really like this book. It's Usborne Activities, 365 Things to Draw and Paint. And like, I've probably said this a million times if you guys follow me, but if you haven't, I've said that in her younger years and younger grades, we did a lot of like just process over products. I didn't want her like copying other artists. I didn't want her to think, oh, like I can't draw if I can't draw as well as that. So I didn't want her to be intimidated by looking at like professional artists or books. So pretty much I didn't show her any examples for, I guess, kindergarten through 2nd. And then so then as she got older and like drew more in her own time, I realized I was having trouble finding art curriculum books I just liked in general that we haven't used or that I liked. So I decided to just do more like drawing prompts for 4th grade. And it's working really, really, really well. So the first week of school, we did drawing dogs. It allows her flexibility and creativity in choosing which ones are her favorite dogs, which colors she's impressed with, and experimenting with materials. Because you can tell, they don't like tell you, like it doesn't say, some do. Yeah, this one does. Okay, sorry. It says use a yellow pencil. Yeah, so this one you can tell just by looking at it, that's colored pencil. So we got out the colored pencils, and I pretty much told her, so we do art every day now for 4th grade. That's been awesome, because before we were just doing art once a week. So I kind of felt like more pressure. I felt like, oh my gosh, like I was doing that to myself. I felt like every Friday we did art, and I felt like it has to be this like really grand project where it's like, you know, we do like, I don't know, like layers of watercolor and then add acrylic, or, you know, do layers of like salt wash, or like do this and that. And it was like putting a lot of pressure on me. I'll be honest with you. Like because this book, I feel like has taken off a lot of the pressure, because you have the option. So she drew a lot of these dogs how she wanted. Some of them she drew them just like how they were. Some she did, some not. So I still think it, you know, sparks a lot of creativity. This was the next one, which is sharks. And so this was her sharks, which I think looks very different. Like they suggested doing it with a stencil, but I told her, let's not do the stencil today. Let's just focus on the shapes. So you can still be creative. You don't have to do it exactly, you know, like it is. Actually, yeah. So these are, and then the next one is like a printed city, you know. And then this one was like collage butterflies, textured paper. So yeah, I really love this. I'm not gonna show you every single one because I'll be here, like I'll just be here forever. But then she did one on her own. So then I give her the option on Fridays. She can do her own inspired project from what we did during the week. And this was her Friday one, which I think is one of my favorite ones. And she got, you know, she used paint. And so, yeah, I'll just quickly flip through this real quick. So yeah, so it just has a lot of prompts, and you can be very creative in choosing, you know, how you want to do it, or if you want to do exactly how they say. So I don't feel like, I was kind of like wondering in the beginning, like, oh, is it just going to be too direct? But no, I really like it. And I will be looking for something similar for 5th grade. Some of the art that I just stopped on. So, and then, because it still is experimenting with process. It's just a little bit more direct because it shows her samples, but that's fine with me. And then this she did on her own. So this was a city. I really want her to use every material we have by the end of the year. You know, whether like one day she did chalk pastels, you know, some days she does colored pencils, some days she uses Sharpie, some days she uses markers, some days she uses collage, and she gets to try different things. So yeah, this opens. But yeah, so that's what we're using for art, and it's working really, really well. And she looks forward to art every single day, you know, versus just doing it one day a week. So yeah, so that was pretty much the major changes. And thanks so much for subscribing. I really appreciate everyone who watches, subscribes, likes, follows, all of it. Thanks so much. Bye.